Now with the nose, that's a very, a little bit more complex area. So what I've done is, you can see I've laid out a spline up here, down here in the bridge, the break of the nose, and down here on the very end. Now you can see those on this side as well. We've got the top and the side and the different splines here to choose from. Now I'm going to show you this option. It's called a bi-rail 3, and you can get a pretty decent surface with something a little bit more complex like this. We're going to, just as we did with the bi-rail 2, we're going to select our splines. We're going to come right up here to Surface, bi-rail 3 tool. And this is really great if you're trying to get more curvature or more detail in a particular object. Alright, we're using the same, and we're going to select this. And then with the bi-rail 3, you can read the instructions right down here. It says you need to press enter to start the rails. So we'll press enter and then select the curves for our rails. And again, like the bi-rail 2, you're not going to see your surface, even if it's created, if these curves are not snapped together. Alright, you can see that I have an initial shape here now, and I can come in here, rebuild that to add my additional edge loops in here. But you can see this curve is not quite the way that I would like it to be. So this particular object is going to take a little bit more time to manipulate into place. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and rebuild this surface and put in enough edge loops to be able to cover that surface. So I'm going to put in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to try 7 spans to start with, and 1, 2, 3. I'm going to try to maintain the 3 across. Alright, you can see that because of the shape of these splines, it shoved all of the detail up in the bridge of the nose, which is typical. It's going to try to maintain the shape as much as possible, and if it's needs more curves up in this area to try to adequately portray that, that's what it's going to do. But it's not what I want it to do. So I'm going to go ahead and drop in a few more, just so that I can try to get the line up here without having to move those along the normal axis so much. It's much easier to come in here and delete the edge, the isoparms. So I've got a pretty reasonable matchup, at least down in the lower part of the nose, so I'm going to close that. And then I'm going to come in here and start to manipulate these a little bit. I can do that again with the isoparm tool. Come in here and lay out additional isoparms if I need to, or I can come up in here and delete them as well. So if I select on the isoparms, here we go, edit, I can just delete this out of here. Delete it, delete it, delete it. And this is just one of those areas that's going to take a little bit of time to get in here and manipulate into position. Isoparm back up in here. fine. Alright, well, you know how to do this. So, what I'm going to do is continue to manipulate that, get that into position, and add that to our objects. I can right click and select on the whole and go ahead and move this entire thing, but it would back me away from my red here, so I'm just going to take my time and make sure that these particular objects are in the place that I want them. Maintain this area in here, so that's what will match up with my other polygonal surfaces when I get those finished. Go ahead and massage that into place here. Now, keeping in mind that that is the line that I need, red line here. Alright, so it's coming along. Alright, I'll continue and check back when there's something new. Alright, you can see my selections here, where my NURBS curves are selected and they're white. A little patchwork back here needs to happen. A couple things need to be moved. As long as your patches are not, the history on them is not deleted, you can continue to manipulate these curves for the most part to get them into the position that you want them. And then, as we talked about, manipulating the curves, the surfaces themselves with the isoperms and the other options that you have available. Hull, which we talked about, grabbing those and manipulating those. Additionally, the surface points are directly on the surface, such as you'd find with the polygon surfaces. Surface UVs, you can also access those. Surface patch, you can do that as well. Control verts. The two tools or sub-object sets that I use most often is hull and control vert, as well as isoperm. So those will pretty much take you through your entire workflow. Now, once I have all of these surfaces created, what I've done is create layers over here. A layer for curves, a layer for NURBS, a layer for polygons, so that I've also created my image planes on polygonal surfaces, so I've gone ahead and put those on a layer, reference only layer, so I don't grab them. But once I have the curves and the surfaces, now what I'm going to do is select those surfaces and convert those to polygons. So we'll go ahead and turn visibility off on our curves. It leaves us just with the NURBS surfaces, and I'm going to select all of those, and I'm going to up here to modify, convert NURBS to polygons. Now, these are the settings again that I'm using. Tessellation method is general, quads, and I'm going to, this is very important, I'm going to use the option per span number of iso params. I'm going to use that both on the U and the V type. Now down here, I'm just going with the defaults, and then I say tessellate, and I'll get the polygonal surface. But again, those are all in pieces. So turn the visibility off on those. Go ahead and put those polygon surfaces back. Alright. And with them all selected, I'll come up here to, let's go to the polygon tool, the tools, edit mesh, mesh, combine. Once those are all combined into one surface, then you can begin to weld the verts. Come right in here. And go to right-click, go to vertex mode, and select on the verts that need to be welded. And I've just been using merge to center. There's another merge option here with the options box available. If I have merge to center, I'll just click G on my keyboard and continue to do that. Now some of them are pretty far apart, so I'm going to need to do some cleanup there. Select. Alright. Let's go with this one for now. And then I can come back in and adjust them to my image planes when I get them welded. And when I get all this welded, I'll come back and show you the next step. Go ahead and weld all these together. Try these. Okay, I'm going to pause here, continue my weld, and when I'm done, I'll return.